That's what's kind of hindered him from maybe taking the next step.
2 words, contract year.
I think if you're a Panthers fan, you love everything you saw there.
What if he plays better? I don't think people are seeing that one coming.
Welcome to That's Good Sports. I am Brandon Perna, voted the most important person in the NFL by Roger Goodell himself. And today I've taken the time to identify a player on every single team that's in a pivotal year. What do I mean by pivotal year? Well, maybe it's a contract year, maybe it's a young player at a key position who needs to show he's developing or step up. Maybe it's a return from injury, or maybe it's just a guy who needs to prove he belongs in the league. These are the make or break players on every NFL team. Players whose success is going to impact the win and loss column in 2025. Some are obvious choices, but I've searched hard to find some players you might not even be thinking about for their make or break seasons. Today is all about the NFC, and the next episode will be about the AFC. And we're going to start with one of the most obvious choices on the list, quarterback Bryce Young of the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young will begin his 3rd year in the NFL, but it feels like he's already battled an entire career's worth of adversity. Young had a rough rookie season as he watched his head coach get canned, his owner throwing drinks on the fans. Young was benched in year 2 by new head coach Dave Canales. The offense that Young leads has lacked weapons and consistent protection, but towards the end of 2024, after Young was put back into the starting lineup, it felt like things slowed down for him. In Bryce's last 4 games specifically, he completed 65.5% of his passes, threw 8 touchdowns to just 2 picks, and added 4 rushing TDs to the mix. 2 of those games were overtime wins, and for the first time in his career, it just felt like Bryce wasn't a bust. There's optimism in Carolina, and Young has to build upon that. It should be easier with Xavier Legette in year 2.
Top real slick, big gun, ayy. Pick a bitch up when we fuck.
And Tet McMillan coming in as a rookie to throw to. I'd love to see Bryce Young rip similar passing metrics to CJ Stroud this year. If he doesn't, Carolina will be looking to draft his replacement.
Actually, I'm looking for 2 more standard breed, single-footing horses right now.
Moving on to the Buccaneers, it's really cool that this is not Baker Mayfield, but if he plays well again, he's probably going to earn himself another $100+ million. For Tampa, I'm looking at the edges. Diaby and Hassan Reddick. Reddick will be playing for his 5th team in 6 seasons after getting traded to the Jets. His holdout last season proved to be a disaster with just 1 sack produced in New York. Reddick needs to have a solid season or his career is probably over, because GMs are going to start saying there's probably a reason that teams keep letting him go. He doesn't need to lead the Bucs in sacks, but they have to believe that he elevates the defense, and his presence on the edge really needs to create sack opportunities for Yaya Diaby, who's heading into year number 3. I think the sacks are going to come in big numbers this year for Yaya. Diaby finished 2024 with 70 quarterback pressures, which tied with Micah Parsons. That was tied for 10th best by any defensive player on the line. I'm predicting more of a breakout year for Diaby with double-digit sacks as he positions himself to get paid next year or the year after. The Saints, obviously, you've got rookie quarterback Tyler Shuck. As a top choice in the 2nd round, there's going to be a ton of attention and pressure on Tyler. No rookie, though, should be in a break year, right? If the Saints are terrible, sure, his replacement could be drafted in 2026, but I think Shuck will show enough to convince Saints fans he can develop. His breaks in the past have been literal breaks to his bones. Shuck's in a stay healthy year, and he might just be the steal of the 2025 NFL draft.
All right, we're talking about Cam Ward. When's Jackson Dart going to get his? This kid's got the shot of shots here. What if he does get the shot and he is indeed the answer?
My make or break player, though, is actually receiver Rashid Shaheed. A torn meniscus ruined what was looking like a great follow-up to his 2022 Pro Bowl year. Say what you want about him, but Derek Carr knew how to find and hit the need for Shaheed.
I feel the need.
Shaheed. He's got it.
Rashid has shown some insane flashes of talent, specifically his 3-catch, 153-yard game against the Colts in 2023. He's slated to be wide receiver number 2 for the Saints next to Chris Olave, who has had the kind of concussion issues that could turn him into a future Antonio Brown.
Studying that film, discipline the most important.
It's so important for everything in life.
Brandon Cooks is currently battling birthday issues, so the door is open for Shaheed to build chemistry with a rookie QB and solidify himself as a player the Saints need to extend after this season. The explosive big plays are already there. Shaheed needs to prove to be a bit more consistent catching the ball and, of course, stay healthy, which should be a bit easier now that the chief medical director of hospital balls is retired. To the Falcons, it's Kyle Pitts. Quarterback Michael Penix basically got a redshirt season, so he's safe for now. Kyle Pitts was drafted 4th overall in 2021, and he's playing on his 5th-year option in Atlanta. Technically speaking, this is Kyle Pitts' 4th make-or-break season. After producing 1,000 yards as a rookie and being touted as a generational tight end coming out of Florida, Pitts has underperformed every year. So much so that he's rumored to be on the trading block, which is not something that happens when a team intends to extend a guy, right? Even his 1,000-yard season as a rookie was overshadowed by the fact that he had just 1 receiving TD that year. Pitts had a career high of 4 touchdowns in 2024 with 602 receiving yards, which is solid, but if he wants a big contract or to stay in Atlanta, he has to get close to double-digit touchdowns, 1,000 receiving yards, or just carve out some insane niche as a red zone threat or third down monster. Because in terms of career production, there's a dozen tight ends who can be drafted between rounds 2 and 7 that can put up the same numbers Kyle Pitts has through 4 full seasons.
The issue with Kyle is he's hard to throw to because he doesn't have a natural feel and route craft. The other issue is the injury he had in 2022. I think it was a knee. It slowed him down, and he may not be able to ever run like he did before.
Please subscribe to this YouTube channel. We're less than 400 subs away from 755,000, trying to get to 760 by the end of June. If I don't, ESPN's also going to pay me $100 million to play solitaire during the NBA Finals. Also, a great way to support this channel is by buying my coffee or my merch over at benchwarmershop.com. We've got coffee. God dang it. We've got last year's cursed logos. You can still get these before Rachel finishes the new batch for this year. These logos should be available for another month or so. But if you're looking for your curse shirts or sell the team shirt, benchwarmershop.com. It's my crap. Buy it. Who cares? You do. I care. All of us. God bless. America? Woo! Daddy, Cowboys are hot. Cool. Then we've got the Bears. It's probably a little too early to say Caleb Williams, but the heat will certainly be on him if he doesn't show significant improvement under Ben Johnson. Their tight end, though, Cole Kmet, probably has the most to prove at this point in his career. After a nice season in 2023, Kmet's numbers dipped somewhat understandably, I guess, after the addition of Keenan Allen and Romo Dunze and sporadic QB play. Of course, Chicago spent its first rounder on tight end Colston Loveland, who might make Kmet expendable by 2026. Cole survived a lot of bad quarterback play, and it would be a shame to see him leave as soon as Caleb got good. I also think every single running back isn't a make-or-break season for the Bears. Ben Johnson gets the balls to his backs, and DeAndre Swift or Roschon Johnson must provide something better than 3.8 and 2.7 yards per carry in this offense, or they will be shipped out to the UFL.
We got a real shot.
Give him the shot.
The Packers, it's their receivers. All of them. The Packers receivers dropped the ball last year at the highest rate, letting the ball hit the turf 25 times in 2024, tied for the most with the Jets. That's kind of funny, right? Jaden Reed was the worst offender with 10 drop passes, while Dontavian Wicks dropped 17% of his catchable targets. Romeo Doubs was injured. Christian Watson tore up his knee at the end of the season after playing in 15 games. What was an extremely promising group of very young ball catchers has turned into one of the biggest question marks in the NFC North. Rookie receiver Matthew Golden has a golden opportunity to provide immediate relief, but Reed, Doubs, and Wicks have to be better for Jordan Love. Wide receiver Bo Melton started practicing with the secondary during OTAs. Maybe that's because Bo Melton caught fewer touchdowns than Bo Nix and Jared Goff last season. Bo's also taking on kick return duty, so he could become the first three-way player since Julian Edelman.
It's not gay when it's in a three-way.
The Vikings. I would hesitate to call J.J. McCarthy a make-or-break player, given that he hasn't had a chance to make yet, and all he's done is get broken. I do think there's more pressure on him than the average player in his situation, given the talent around him and the vote of confidence by the team letting Sam Darnold go. Instead, I think it's their other 2024 first-rounder, Dallas Turner, who only had 3 sacks, playing just 28% of Minnesota's snaps on defense as a rookie and generating just 12 quarterback pressures. Rams rookie Jared Verse won Rookie of the Year with 89 pressures, and he was selected 2 spots after Turner. It's not quite a break year for Turner again, but he needs to take a massive leap forward in production to prove he was worth that first-round pick. The Lions? It's Jameson Williams, who finally played the majority of a season. Yay! 2024 was a quiet breakout year for J-Mo. 1,000 receiving yards, a very nice 7 touchdowns, plus a rushing TD. He averaged 17.3 yards per reception in 2024 and was on the field enough to be a consistent threat to opposing defenses. With the departure of Ben Johnson, J-Mo's ability to take another step forward becomes even more important for the Lions' success in 2025. He has an opportunity to be the most dangerous skill player in the NFL while also being the 3rd best option for the Lions in the passing game. Defenses have to key on Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs coming out of the backfield, and Sam Laporta on every fucking snap. J-Mo is going to be in a mismatch situation more than most receivers. If he can become bigger than the scheme and emerge as the guy that Jared Goff says, fuck it, J-Mo's down there somewhere, he puts himself in a great position to secure a long and lucrative career. On to Jerry World. It's George Pickens. I am genuinely intrigued to watch Pickens play next to CeeDee Lamb. George Pickens, insane talent, who I believe is suited to be a perfect number 2 receiver. Now, they have very different strengths, but this is Pickens' chance to prove he is as valuable as T. Higgins is to the Bengals. I loved this trade for Dallas, and George is probably the best example of a make-or-break player in this entire episode. He's in the final year of his rookie contract on a new team who desperately needs his services to take the pressure off of CeeDee Lamb in the passing game. He's also had character concerns coming out of college. Fair or unfair, that's just the way it is. He can actually earn himself more money than I think anyone on today's list if he proves to be more consistent as a receiver and a reliable teammate in Dallas. Another 1,000-yard season, 8 to 10 TDs will probably make him a top priority for the Cowboys this offseason, which they will drag out into 2028 somehow. Sticking with Dallas, the Eagles. Dallas Goedert is playing on a 1-year contract with Philly. I thought there would be a bigger market for him, but a big season from Goedert could get him a nice 3-year deal somewhere else this offseason. For me, I think this is actually a make-or-break year for receiver Jahan Dotson with the Eagles. Dotson was the 16th overall pick by the Commanders or football team in 2022. The Commanders traded him to the Eagles in August of 2024 for essentially a 3rd-round pick. Dotson was a first-round talent who is now trying to prove he has enough value to be a playmaker in an offense where he is behind Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Dallas Goedert in the pecking order. He recorded 0 touchdowns last season and played his best ball in a meaningless finale with Tanner McKee throwing him the rock. Dotson can really help the Eagles by being a reliable last resort.
Suffocation, no breathing,
in the passing game. He has to figure out a way to put up enough film to entice a wide receiver needy team to take another chance on him this upcoming offseason. He becomes crucial if either Smith or Brown go down with injury. There's not a ton of opportunity for him to boom this year because Philly runs the ball so much, but on a stacked team, he can at the very least prove he's not busty. Commanders, running back Brian Robinson. He has been the definition of consistent through his first 3 seasons in the league. His yards per carry have increased every year, which is a nice sign. He had a career-high 8 rushing touchdowns last year. Brian needs to be demanding more carries and trying to hit double-digit rushing touchdowns for his next contract, which will be dished out after this season. For the Commanders, though, as a team, their biggest make-or-break player is Deebo Samuel. Nobody has been written off with more words than Deebo Samuel this offseason. I saw some beat reporters break their goddamn fingers writing this man off. There are plenty of questions about how good Deebo is right now that are fair, but this is a guy who had 12 total touchdowns in 2023. If Washington mixes him into the running game, sorry, Brian Robinson, and makes defenses guess how he's going to be used on any given snap, Deebo can have a huge impact for the Commanders' offense without even putting up insane numbers. Just good numbers from Deebo gives Terry McLaurin, contract pending, and Brian Robinson more chances for big plays. The Giants. I'm making a rookie exception, okay? For the Giants, it is Abdul Carter. This is not a make or break season for Abdul Carter in terms of his overall career, but this is a make or break season for the Giants. Brian Dable and Joe Shane need Carter to play very well to show John Mara they know how to draft. We have no idea if or when Jackson Dart will start, but we do know Carter will be on the field week 1. He's playing ahead of 2022's 5th overall pick, Kayvon Thibodeau. Brian Burns, seasoned vet, rushing the QB opposite Carter, and Dexter Lawrence is one of the most dominant big men in the interior. Carter's walking into an ideal situation as a rookie pass rusher, and he needs to have a Jared Verse type season. I suggest he challenge Lawrence Taylor to a workout like Verse did with Aaron Donald.
For 2 years, he says, he chased cocaine the way he had chased quarterbacks.
The Giants' defense needs to be a dominant unit to give Dart a chance when he's eventually ready. The 49ers. Am I crazy to say kicker Jake Moody here? Moody was a 3rd-round pick in 2023, the first player the 49ers actually took in that draft, and since then he's made 45 of 59 field goals. Fuck. He was a lot better as a rookie because in year 2 his rate dropped to 24 out of 34, just 70%. He struggled significantly on kicks over 40 yards, hitting just 10 for 20. Safe to say they expected more out of a mid-round pick at kicker, but that's also probably why you shouldn't be spending a 3rd-round pick on a kicker. I mean, the Raiders selected receiver Trey Tucker with the next pick, and that dude can play. I feel like the only reason he's still on the roster is because of his draft position, but I don't think that'll stop Kyle Shanahan from cutting him or sending him to Alcatraz this year if things don't get better. They already brought in Greg Joseph for competition. The Cardinals, it is Kyler Murray with the side dish of we need a little more from Marvin Harrison Jr. Harrison didn't have a bad rookie year. It feels like people are saying that. Actually, it was almost identical to what his dad did in '96. His old man actually didn't put up 1,000 yards until his 4th year when he broke out with over 1,600. But we don't have that kind of patience these days, do we? Especially when Harrison got outproduced by Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, and Atlanta McConkey. As for Kyler Murray, this does feel like his last year in the desert unless something unforeseen happens. Murray had solid numbers last year, but is yet to return to his 2021 form. Murray had 572 rushing yards last season, which is a lot, but I think Kyler needs to hit that 800-yard mark rushing like he had in 2020 that was paired with 11 rushing TDs. Mostly, he needs to prove he's the leader of that offense, that he's willing to take a hit, and give us some of that Hail Mary magic from when Arizona stunned the Bills. For the Rams, it's Jimmy Garoppolo. Just kidding. It's running back Blake Corum. who needs to prove he was worth the third-round pick the Rams spent on him in 2024 after carrying the ball just 58 times for 207 yards as a rookie. He's never going to get the load of the carries with Kyren Williams in the building, but he's got to make the most of his opportunities coming off a broken forearm in Week 18 that kept him out of the playoffs. If he doesn't get to that level, they can always flip him to his college coach, Jim Harbaugh, who will embrace him with open arms. The Rams offense as a whole will be better with Devontae Adams, and Corum needs to be the Rams version of David Montgomery. And finally, the Seahawks. It's Sam Darnold with a little bit of Kenneth Walker. Walker looked like a stud his rookie year in Seattle, and while he's become slightly more productive as a receiver, his yards per carry have dropped from 4.6 to 3.7 over 2 years. Now, I think a lot of that has to do with Seattle's decline on the line up front. Walker was picking up 2.7 yards before contact in 2022, as opposed to 1.7 last year, which is typically a sign of bad blocking. If he's rushing more effectively, Sam Darnold is probably going to be throwing more effectively. Next to Bryce Young, Sam Darnold is in the most obvious make-or-break season. He did make it last year. He did make it. And while the Seahawks paid Sam, they also drafted a quarterback with a very high upside in Jalen Milroe. Darnold was great last year, and he, like Geno Smith, faced a ton of pressure that was not his fault, which ultimately ended both of their seasons and stints with their former teams. Unfortunately, Darnold's getting Geno's offensive line, which was actually a little bit worse than his with the Vikings, and the Vikings did a lot to improve their line this offseason, unlike the Seahawks. And those are your make or break players. Thanks for watching here on YouTube. Please subscribe to my channel. It's called That's Good Sports. And I would just, gee golly, I would really be thrilled if you took the time to subscribe to my channel. Oh boy, it would make my day.
And if you don't, fuck off.